Hey YouTube, welcome to Learning Self-Reliance. My wife and I just put our bees into our backyard, but with 3 hives in our backyard we want to make sure they have enough water. I'm going to be modifying this gravity-fed dog waterer using some burlap so that way the bees don't drown when they're drinking from this. So this is just a simple way to open water your bees, and that way our bees won't be going into any neighbors' pools or something like that. Alright, so I've got my hand crank drill here that I cleaned up in another video, and I'm going to be using that to drill some holes. Then we'll screw down some burlap so that the bees don't drown. I'll take you in for a close-up, and this should be a pretty simple job. So I've got a pretty small bit here that I'm going to be using to drill some holes in the edges here. Got some simple drywall screws, nothing fancy. And this is my burlap that I got that I'm going to be using to drape over top of this and hopefully have some sag in the middle of it. That way when the water gets low, the bees can still drink from it, but that way they won't drown. So I'm going to put my bit in this chuck and we'll get going. My wife and I are super excited about these bees. We tried last year and we just screwed up really bad and we were unsuccessful. So this year we're going to try again and try to get this as close to the lip as I can. Kind of go at an angle. Well, let me take this guy off. Come on. There we go. Apparently it locks in place, it doesn't screw in place. Decided to change angles so that way you guys can get a good view of this. We'll see how well this goes with this first screw. Hopefully I don't damage this plastic by screwing into it like this. There we go. Simple. Let's do a couple more of those. I made sure that these screws are actually smaller, or I'm sorry, a little bit larger than these holes. This is probably a bit overkill on these screws. It's not like this burlap's going to get a whole lot of weight on it. I think I'm also going to try to make it so that the bees can't go under this lip, because you just know they're going to be so dumb and go under there and drown themselves when they can't get out underneath the burlap. So let's do a couple straight through here as well. I'm just going to cut off a layer of this, just a little bit larger than the right size. And I'm probably going to have to fold it over on itself, that way it doesn't fray. So I'm going to need it to be quite a bit larger than the rest of it. Unfortunately my Leatherman's a bit dull. Need to sharpen it. I'll be keeping this in a shaded area so the bees, so this doesn't heat up so much and then have all the water evaporate, which would be really unfortunate. I hate these dumb things that they make. I don't know why they make them fall apart at the first touch of anything. I just spilled my screws all over the ground. Big surprise. Alright, let's go through this guy. I'll probably just use my Leatherman to screw these in. Just like that. Go. We'll start off with skipping some. Let's see why I need to do every single one of those holes that I screwed. As long as this can still fold over, I think it can. I'm going to do a kind of a pilot one over here to make sure that I get this stretched right, so I don't lose the sagginess in here. I need it to sag down so the water is accessible, even when it's low. Yeah, it's a little tight like that. Well, I think move this over like that. There we go. That's a little bit better. You know, a lot of people have done whole fountains and things to water their bees, and that just seems like a lot of work, really expensive, really heavy. But this is transportable and simple. Hopefully with this burlap sitting in that water, it won't leach any weird things into the water. Well, having some drywall screws in there might not help so much with that, but it's definitely not pretty. But it's going to be functional. I think that's what matters. I don't think the bees are going to care what it looks like. They're just going to like that there's water. This side I did not give it enough room. Definitely not enough. This, I think no matter what I do, is not going to work out so good on this side. It's just too short. But I'm just going to screw it in. So for now, that'll probably work. I might pretty it up later and put some washers around these or something to really hold it down. But I'm going to set this out, see what kind of information I can get out of this, see what I can learn about improving it, because I'm sure later I'll have a better idea of how to improve this. Alright, well that was a really quick and simple video for you guys. I'm just going to set this up real quick and we'll give you a shot of the final product. So this has got some sort of fancy filter on there, and I think it's going to be pretty slow to fill up this whole reservoir. It's got a little activated carbon at the bottom, because apparently your dog cares if it tastes like chlorine. That is so much higher than I thought it would be. This is so much lower than I pictured that it would be inside of this container. I mean, it's got a whole like inch and a half between the rim of this and the water. Thought it would come up pretty close to the rim, but I guess not. Well, I guess round 2 says that I need to recut this and bow it down a lot more. So I'm going to take this off, try it again. Some new burlap. Alright, so I've got a larger piece of this burlap cut out. If you're unable to find some burlap, I think just some regular cloth, like maybe some sort of junk towel you got lying around the house, something like that would probably work just fine. I only went with the burlap because it's kind of cheap. I had it lying around. I got it from the guy that I got these bees from. He just had some burlap lying there. Gave it to me for free. That was really nice of him. So I'm gonna slice off the end of this here. Alright, there we go. We'll see if the bees can find that. So in total this is a 5-gallon waterer, but I got about half an inch or so of water sticking up there. Looks like about 2 gallons or so filled up just this bottom, if this is actually a whole 5-gallon thing. We'll see if the bees can find this and what they think of it. I'm not sure if they'll have some sort of offense by how it smells or something like that, but I'm going to give it a try and I'll do an update video if I run into any problems with it. But I really don't anticipate any. This looks like it's going to work nice and simple, and I'm sure random people have a dog watering thing or something lying around like this and you can make one yourself. Alright, it's been about 2 weeks since I put this water in. My bees took a week or so to find it, but I've got a few of them on here that are drinking from it. They seem to hang out on the edges of the burlap and don't even go near the middle, which is pretty good. So the burlap spreads that water out and the bees don't drown in the middle of that. There's a bit of junk that's hanging out in the middle, of the burlap. But so far it seems to work really well. I'm really pleased with it. Hope that more and more bees start to use this waterer. Alright YouTube, well thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful for anybody who was looking for a simple way to water their bees. Please remember to like and subscribe.